What's good, everyone? It's your boy, Sifu G, the Esoteric Warrior. I hope everyone's doing good today. Welcome back to the Tao of Kung Fu podcast. I've got Sifu John Lee, and we're back with another episode. And we're going to be talking about combat sports in China with Xu Xiao, if that's his correct name.
Yeah.
Welcome, brother. Welcome back. We've had this discussion over the years, talking about the lack of knowledge and experience for traditional Kung Fu in combat, especially sports combat. You brought up a good debate with me on the phone just the other day and today. All these masters that are fighting in combat sport truly believe in their skills, but they're lacking in so much. Okay, so I'll let you kick it off and let's get this started, brother.
Okay, so Xu Xiao, or in Cantonese, Chui Xiu Dong, okay, that's his name. Look, really, when you look at all these MMA guys that we know up in the elites, I mean, Xu Xiao is not one of the top guy, isn't it? We're just an average guy that has got a mogun or got a gym, and he went out to challenge, all these other masters, and he really wanted to just expose the lack of skill they have in real combat. But a few years later, now it seems like that he's not rocking up other people's places and challenging them. They're rocking up his place and challenging him and his students, right? And I mean, a lot of them is not recorded. I mean, Jerry's got some of this stuff on, on social media, but some of this stuff is not recorded. Some of the masks get knocked out, and the deal is that they don't want to put it up onto social media because they will lose their face. But by and large, we're not doing so good, are we?
No, and you know what? I think Xu Xiaodong, he's got love for Chinese Kung Fu, but I think now he's fed up because Kung Fu should be really dominating. In my honest opinion, there's no reason why traditional Kung Fu shouldn't be entering these competitions and being half successful as well.
Well, like from history, I don't think Chinese Kung Fu is invented for doing forms and performances and getting all these trophies and stuff like that. I mean, they were really for survival skill, isn't it? In the old days, even my father's day, But the thing is that it has evolved into the way that it's become an art form, a performance type of art, and it's not a combat art anymore. And we've got to accept that because we're part of this community of traditional Chinese martial art that we can actually do a lot better than the years at the moment, and that's where I think we're gonna look deep inside what is happening, how can we fix it,
I think the problem lies, many people take up Chinese Kung Fu just for the health benefits and to practice forms. Maybe 10% out of those millions of people will enter a competition.
Well, here's the thing, Gary. Look, to me, it's that I'm also a musician as well, playing music since I was a kid. So I'm in the band, and so if I do a particular style of music, okay, I'm just going to music, and I'm not so bloody good at it, right? But I'm good at heavy metal, or I'm good at rock and blues, but I'm not good at jazz. I can kind of excuse myself, right? But in Kung Fu, you can't do that because we are teaching people who say, hey, this style is for fighting, it's deadly. And then we do all these things, all these exercises and forms and jongs and all this stuff like that. And then when we get to the real thing, we fail. And so if we fail and we're selling the fact that we are, we're martial arts, we know how to fight, and we're not winning anything, actually we're losing really badly traditional Chinese martial art, and I don't see anyone new going up there actually to challenge him. Look, I think Jerry, even deep down, he really wants Chinese martial art to win, and you and I like that, just get one in there, but we're not doing that. So we'll look at the problems that we are trying to fix, and like a lot of people say, our hands are too deadly, we're not going to do this. Look, we're not going to go through all of that again, because it's just going around in circles. So, you know, I'm too deadly, you know, I'm not going to, I don't fight, you know, this is Chinese martial art, we don't fight. But then we were promoting fighting because we're teaching techniques, you know, we're teaching techniques. We're not teaching Pilates or yoga, we're teaching martial art. So we got to justify what we're teaching is real. Yes, it's an art, but we can actually use it. But we can't even do that. Then there's something really wrong with the industry, or what we call the industry now, because I mean, there's a lot of people making money out of all of this, isn't it? They're teaching, they're making this a living. It's an industry, isn't it? It's like soccer.
Do you find that maybe the Western countries embrace the combat side more because there's a lot more sport fighting? Like you got point scoring, semi-contact and full contact, be it karate, taekwondo, kickboxing. There's different levels of kickboxing for novices to professional, same as Thai boxing. There's wrestling, you know, in clubs, boxing, as you know. But in China, you either got Sanda, MMA, and BJJ, maybe some Taekwondo as well. But the lack of Kung Fu competition, that may be where the problem is. And another problem could be the Sifus are not knowledgeable enough to teach a combat sport sense. What do you think?
Well, just look at as a whole, like karate and taekwondo, they're very organized, aren't they? I mean, even the two organizations in taekwondo, they're very organized with their competition, with their rules and all that. With Chinese Kung Fu, it's very hard because they're all different style, different way of fighting. So they try to bring this together in, you know, in Sanshou, in USA, you know, with Kung Lee, and then you got, you know, Sanda, which is, you know, it's the same bloody term, really, when you think about it. And they try to bring people together and on the common rules and fight, right? But, you know, like after that, we got MMA, which is, and then Vale Tudo, which only goes in Brazil, right? So, you know, you got a lot of competition here that that do certain things or certain rules. But the thing is that it's participation. That's the key. Are we participating in all this event? We're not. We haven't sent our fighters in there. We haven't sent our students in there. We kind of lock in the box and saying, yeah, we are greatest. We do the, you know, this in footwork, and people do this secret form when we are direct line, but none show up to prove that it actually works. And that's really, and that's how people, I mean, I think that, you know, the kids in China now, like, you know, Robert said, there's this big shift. They just want to know about Chinese martial art. They rather do MMA, BJJ, Muay Thai, Taekwondo. They don't want to do Chinese boxing or Chinese Kung Fu because, number one, you have to train so long to be good at it. You know, I mean, you know, like my old days, it's like Indian Charlie fight. So you stand in the corner there, see if you want to teach you something, see if you want to teach you something, If they don't want to teach you something, you can stand there in the corner and practice yourself. No one actually guiding you. It's a very different, you know, notion now that people, you know, gets into the MMA gym. They say, ask you exactly what you want. They're going to give you what you want, and then you got to train what you want. You know, so it's a different mindset. But we have to do better. But definitely, we got to do better to prove that we can fight. You know, 10-ounce gloves, or we can, you know, we can do bare hand if you want to. I mean, Xu Xiao don't offer the guy, the Taiji master that was on that video. You know, you can do whatever you want. You know, free hand. You know, you can grab. You know, you don't have to wear gloves.
Well, that's another good point, because I know a lot of people on the forums are saying, oh, but if it was without gloves, it would be a different story. I doubt that very much. The whole idea of protective gear is to, one, protect your hands and your opponent's face. You know, if you look at bare knuckle, they're cut open, their noses are broken, their jaws are busted up. That's like for more prize fighting, people that are really desperate for money and want to be that type of alpha male. But we have a sport where you can wear gloves, and any martial artist at a decent level should be able to adapt to the rules, because it's all basics, right?
Look, the thing is that, you know, I've been doing this stuff for a long, long time, mate. You know, I've done different styles, a mantis, and even tried for kung fu. You know, the thing is, when you go against someone that's really good at boxing and, you know, kicking, you are very limited to very basic technique, because you just don't have the time to pull those techniques off. They're so fast. I mean,
well, that's what they're using, exactly the basics. Straight line hooks, uppercuts, and straight line roundhouse kicks.
Well, it is, because there's so many ways you actually move your body, right, isn't it? But a lot of people say, you know, as soon as you say the Sao is like that, right? You try each other Sao like that, and all of a sudden, that I do a Sao like that. As soon as I raise my elbow, I know the opponent's will know that I'm doing a Sao. He's going to move back. He's going to stand there like, you know, like the demo, isn't it? So then, if I can't hit him, then my Sao has to be shortened and it become a hook. It's like boxing. And they said, but if you do that, hey, Gary, if you do that, the other people say, oh, you're doing Western boxing. So we're back to where we were again.
Nah, see, that's where the bullshit is, right? In all kung fu styles, they'll have a straight punch. Even your elbow can be a short hook, right? So it's like it's the same direction, the same movement. Sao Choi can be made into a short hook, mid-range, or a long-range hook.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to the person to really think about it. Even like in Yong Kumon, right, we have couple of different Tung Choi, like uppercut, right? So you got a trap with an uppercut, you got double hand, and also we got Pao Choi like this. That's a body rip. Take away the trap, and you've got your hook, your uppercut, which is it's the same thing, but they're not thinking, right? In Kung Fu, they like to have a trap or use another hand to help the other hand with the power. But in a fighting context, take away the trapping, because the trapping only comes once you've clashed or you've got too close, and that's where it can work. But you can still use your uppercuts, the same hand movement, that's a Tung Choi, as an uppercut in boxing. It's ridiculous the way people think and comprehend their art. They think that the punch is going to come and you got a jab cross and they're going to go trap uppercut or Xu Xiao. It blows my mind. Like I'm lucky that I've come from a combative sport competition since I was a kid, and I can see where all the kung fu is applicable, just like MMA. Take away like Bilji and Sachoy, right?
Yeah.
Right. You take away this part, this hand, right?
And
you got the same move.
Yeah.
And people are just not thinking on the terms. And once you got gloves, you can't always use this hand to block anything or to parry or to jam, right? You haven't got time. Sometimes you have to slip. You got to use your head movement, body movement. And in all the Haka arts that I've seen and know, it's like there's a pole up the arse and their body straight and there's no head movement at all.
Which is very bad. To me, if you go to a gym and fight a semi-pro boxer, not even a pro boxer, you will know that a lot of stuff that you do traditionally, it probably won't work that well against a guy that's so skillful in moving, body structure is moving, his footwork's moving, his body's moving. And if you miss, you got to recover your hand, because most people just go on the gaucho, and if that miss, what happened? What's plan B? So again, a lot of these movements that they've been refined throughout the years. I mean, the old days of boxing isn't the way they box now. They look really, when you think about the internet, everyone started everybody's the way they fight, okay? They must have worked it out how to do short power on a bag. But the difference is the hitting bag and the hitting feedback. We hit in the air and we're pretending that we actually got that power, but we never hit anything. But we look good in the form, but we actually don't hit anything. And we don't know that something going to hit us back. How do we feel when we hold punch in the head? How do we feel? How do we recover? He hit me, I'm going to hit straight back at him. but you can hear, go, oh my God, I can hear, you know. So, you know, that is something that is part of the training. I just think that, you know, we need to do better in the way we train. And we can't hide away, you know, we can't just stick away and say, oh, you know, that's MMA, that's boxing, that's got nothing to do with us. It can't, because we're in the business telling people that we're teaching self-defense with traditional art.
Even that fight with Taiji Master versus Xu Xiao, he says, oh, Taiji has better torque power than boxing, all this BS, and they talk about Sung and bouncing people, and not one of them has ever used any Tai Chi in a combat sense. They flail for the air. Once they get hit, they're just shitting themselves, running around, lack of footwork, because they never, like, your opponent's never going to be standing there for you to hit. A real fighter is going to be constantly moving, right?
Yeah.
And you got to also learn that once you punch or they punch, you got counter punching as well, right?
Yeah.
And most kung fu guys are taught, he punches, trap, bin choi, he does this, boy choi, he does this, you're going to do that, and you're already on the defense. Rather than from the beginning, I teach always striking, counter punching, or counter striking before any trapping range, because that's the first thing that's going to save your ass. And not see, because kung fu is also built on self-defense techniques, like he grabs your wrist, you know, yin kam or kam la sao, and you've got all this other stuff that is used for different circumstances and situations. But a good kung fu master should be able to adapt to any rules, because they've refined their basics, right? The basics. And then you see him go in the ring, you've got what, the Bakwa guy got smashed, Baji, all these masters, Wu Dang, like, and they all taught the talk. And I think what Xu Xiao has done is brought to light the flaws of kung fu. And I think I truly believe he wants kung fu to succeed, by, even though he sounds arrogant to people, and he's like a bully to some, I think he's as frustrated like me and you in a way. Like we see these clips and we just go, oh, you either ringing me up or I'm ringing you up. Did you see that? And you go, it's disappointing, you know, because we love kung fu, everyone. That's the truth. And we're not going to put down any art. We're not trying to trash it, you know. We want it to succeed. I'm 54, Sifu John's 60.
I'm 62 this year.
We're not going to be hopping.
This year freaked me out. I'm 62. Oh my God, I'm 62.
we're not going to be hopping in the ring fighting, right? But we can teach. We should be able to teach people how to enter a competition, what the diet is, what the training should be to become a fighter. And unfortunately, everyone, you got to put away the forms. So there should be, like when I taught Yokomun, you'll be doing the forms at the beginning of class, and at the end, we chuck the gear on and we always fought every class.
Well, you know, like, I'm just getting back to the Tai Chi master, right? I mean, he honestly think that he could actually beat Mike Tyson. It was on Chinese media saying that he can beat Mike Tyson. That's why it brought in the thing with Xu Xiao, you know, that he truly believe that, you know. For me, I look at what Don Yen has said, and look at the form of Mike Tyson at his age now, when he's 60. His is awesome. And if you just imagine putting yourself in front of a guy like that, I mean, there's a lot of Mike Tyson around. That's not just the one Mike Tyson. That we know that is a successful boxer. There's a lot of Mike Tyson in those gyms. I've seen them. I know what they look like, and I know how to punch.
I've seen even some Russian guys at 78 hitting the bag like a beast. You don't see 78-year-olds smashing those bags like these some of these old boxers, and they'll never forget their training if they've done the work. That's for sure.
Yeah, like the gauntlet is fantastic, and the thing is that they've proven that what they do is it works, and so they have different mindset to kung fu people. The kung fu people is all about climbing the status and learning all these forms and jongs and breathing, all this footwork, secret bloody set of this, secret bloody set of that, and whereas the Western thinking is very different, But I think, by and large, I think a lot of Chinese practitioners, whether they're from different races, around the world, they really want Kung Fu to do well, and we want Kung Fu to do well. I just think that we need to modify a little bit, change the way we think about, the way we train, how this is, and we've got to work it out. I mean, people actually from the other arts are actually gone a bit further than us. They research. They change, they improve, and we haven't really improved. We a lot of time we still stick to the base, the old way of teaching. I mean, I look, just hear me out on this one. I don't think in 1800 in my village, my great-great-great-grandfather, right, would have saw BJJ, MMA, all these different Thai boxing. They would have seen all of this, They would have seen. In their village, they're fighting this way, and we got not to fight this way, and then we got some invaders from other foreigners. We fought this way. They never really seen anything that's happening now. What is all mixed up and the multi-skill. They never seen anything like that. I remember my father told me the story. When the Japanese invaded China, and he was only a young guy, and he trained Charlie in the mountain, and he came down with a monk, and saw the Japanese soldier with their guns and the knife and the gun, and pushing all these people in the village and rounding them up and all that. And they really never thought that the Japanese are naturally are good at judo, like flipping people. They didn't know what's judo, grappling, but they grabbed them and flipped them over. And most of the Chinese guys just lost. They were just couldn't resist the Japanese because they were forced to fight the Japanese. And it's sort of entertainment for the Japanese, to be honest, when they took over our village. But my father always to say that, even in Hong Kong, in the early days of the police force, they never heard of Taekwondo people. Never. There was only one Taekwondo guy that was in the police force, and they didn't know what's Taekwondo, but they knew that this guy was effective because we didn't know how to way to kick, and they were kicking so fast, spinning on that. And most of the guys just got knocked out of the ring, And I asked my dad, "Did you go against him?" He said, "I did." He said, "Actually won." Luckily, I won. He said, because I saw him flying at me, kicking me, and I was just barraging kicks. I didn't know how to stop this, but I knew one thing was going through the center line and went whap and into his nut, and he went down, and I started hitting him. But the thing is that if you don't see this sort of art back in 1800, 1900, 900, you only could make forms against those people there in 1900 or 1950. You won't have forms now against MMA now. I mean, these people now, they're multi-skilled. So if we're saying that now we're going to develop some form, and just say that we don't have no social media, we don't know how to write, we're illiterate, we're going to have to create some form fighting the guy from Brazil. How would our form look like now? So people got to think about all of this, that the stuff we learn, we treasure what they gave us, but we have to make something more than what they gave us. We can't just say, we can't be pedantic, say we have to follow exactly how they taught us, because that's the way they won the fights back in 1800. Seriously, Willis is turning too fast, going too fast.
Even traditional Thai boxing from I think the last century.
The old Thai, the old Muay Thai.
But they've changed dramatically compared to the old footage I've seen of the way they fought. They're more effective with their elbows and knees and legs, but they've added so much more boxing now to their hands than they were originally. So they've upped their game as well. Thai boxing, it shouldn't be frowned upon to change look, to me, it's all in the Kung Fu. You got straight line punches, you got hooks, uppercut.
Yeah,
There's no
Clean Choi, which is a back fist and all that, you know.
to me, it's all there, but to some people, they just can't accept it. And as soon as they see me light on my feet, oh, that you're doing boxing. No, I've been in enough competition to know that if I stand still, I'm going to get a spinning hook kick to the head. I'm going to get double leg takedown. I'm going to get punched in the face. So if you don't know how to spar even, and that's where it's just going to sort the men out from the boys. Once you put the gloves on and get hit once or twice, you're going to be fucking moving those feet and head.
You have to. You have to. You can't suck up the testicle and clam on the stance and doing all this stuff that we train, for for attribute. We can't take that to the fight with you. The thing is, the irony is that most of these people say, it's Western boxing. You're dancing around, you're punching, all that, because it's kicking me. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm not going to cop a punch or cop a kick. So then they became Western boxing. That's just a bad. I mean, you heard about all these people say that after few punches, then everything's going out the window, whatever they learn, whatever style, and it became like a second class or third class kickboxing match. They start punch like a kickboxer, but they're not trained the way it's supposed to, and it's like it's really just a shabby bloody.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna video that fight of the the Tai Chi guy.
Yeah.
And add it to this during our talk.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that the Tai Chi guy went straight to boxing. He'll just and he was so bad at it because you go back to the normal way of movement.
Yeah.
That is that's just how it is.
Yeah, well, that's
he wasn't doing brush knee, twist step, part the fucking horse mane. None of it came to light. He was bad boxing and he had no footwork. And he just got smashed within 30 seconds, I think it was.
He stuck his long fist out. First, he was using the extension of his bridge, but then that didn't really help him after that.
No, hooked over the top.
It was just hooked over the top, right? So basically,
body rip. If you got that arm out, you're going to get liver shot every fucking minute.
Well, I changed my mantis the way I taught. It's not to stick the bridge out. I mean, most of the mantis guys I know that when they get to a real tense sparring, they start, they stick the bridge out. They start flipping their hands. They can't do jack shit because the punches are so quickly. They're trying to defend and trying to respond. They forgot all this other stuff they learned in the class. But I'm not saying all mantis guys like that, but I saw most mantis guys are like that, and young guys, and I don't know where they learned the art from, but obviously, to me, if you train sparring and pad work with your art, you should know. And when you take your art to the gym and fight some semi-pro boxers, some boxers, you will find out the truth about all of this.
Even amateur boxers, amateur kickboxers.
Yeah.
Look, we had this discussion, right, about this Tai Chi master's been doing it for 20-something, 30 years?
Yeah, more than that, I think.
Right? And then you've got a guy, you can probably go to any boxing gym, a decent boxing or kickboxing gym, pick a guy within 1 year to 2 years.
Yeah.
That's trained every day and hard. I guarantee they'll just smash these guys. And you don't need to be a master or Sifu or I'm the representative, this and that. If you have no skill, you've got no skill. It's just the bottom line.
Well, in my days in school, right, this is back in the 70s, 75, 76 in Cleveland Boys High School. I mean, most of the guys that I knew from Hong Kong that came over, after like a year or so, mixing the Korean, they would learn Taekwondo, they would learn karate, because they had the spar, the Kyokushin, Kai. Even they're not hitting the head, hitting the body, they were having, a lot of fun punching each other. And you will see that, I saw their attitude change. A lot of my friends, when they got to like 17, 18, they just basically gave up learning Chinese martial art. They went to this art like Hapkido, Taekwondo, karate. They didn't want to do any of this Kung Fu stuff. they didn't want to go down with me to Chinatown and learn Charlie Fat, you know.
Well, at least Charlie Butt still do their own competitions as well. There's only a few arts out there that still do that type of sparring, and that's unreal, you know. But you also said that now on a lot of Chinese forums that the new generation are laughing at Kung Fu, Chinese Kung Fu, their own national culture. And it saddens me to hear that, because we have the goods, but we don't have any hungry fighters, especially in the Hakka arts.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a lot of talk about that on the Chinese forum. If you read Chinese, and you read the simplified Chinese, and you go into the the Chinese forum in China, the kids, there's two type of kids. There's one type that listen to the dad and go to just and train the traditional kung fu. The other type, they're into Sandai MMA, and they basically just laugh at this group. And because the thing is we don't have any fighters actually won all this fight against them, and there will be 1 in 1,000. I can't remember there's a fight actually that Chinese Kung Fu won over the MMA guy or Sandai guy. So if they're seeing or their teacher and not winning it, so they're going to move to a different camp. So we have to do better. I don't know how this is going to work if you start to changing the system or change the way we train the system, because there is a lot of back pressure by people that in higher places don't want to change anything, So it's a cultural thing as well. So it's a hard ask. I don't think it's as simple as just swap over and change it, but you have to slowly
just have 2 classes. You just say Southern, just say if you had Southern Manta School, you'd have your traditional class, and then you'll have your combat mantas class for competition, and you'll notice you'll probably get more into that because of all the fitness and all the strength work. You get results very quick with it. Look at any boxer. Look at their body, how fit they are. Kickboxer, Thai boxer, they just got abs and ripped muscles. They're strong as an ox. But we got Kung Fu guys of 20, 40 years, massive guts, still doing forms and push hands or Chai Sao and Toi Sao. It's I think there's more Tai Chi push hand competitions in China than there is Kung Fu competition.
But I know.
It's the easy way out, right? I don't want to get punched in the face. Let's do push hands.
Well, it's like anything that is compliance, right? You basically got a set of rules and you got to fight within that framework. So, I mean, I can see why it happened like that and how it's ended like that. But at the end of the day, it's like there's nothing wrong with Tai Chi and for health and all of that. But you start promoting that it's a fighting art, and you got this song and all this stuff like that. But you still need muscle. I mean, at 50-something, you start losing muscle mass. So even the doctors say that, mate, you got to do some gym work. So to say that just using chi and song and and this sort of slow movement, and it won't cut it. It's just, I'm sorry to tell people that you wake up to it. Like I learned Tai Chi from Master Rick Lum for about 3 years. 108 Yang's Tai Chi. Probably a lot of people don't know that I actually know Tai Chi. And yes, I feel the chi. I feel my hand rise up automatically. That's what got me involved. We used to do Tai Chi even in the rain. With raincoat. That's how dedicated my brother and I learned from Sifu Rick Lum. But at the end of the day, it was just in the other sensation experience that we felt the chi. We felt everything. We felt really good, and we got healthy. But in no way that he would say to us, "This is a real awesome fighting system." Like really think about it. All this fighting system, they have intensity. When they fight you, they come and get you. And all the time that we learn how to defend, but we're not learning how to attack. So how many times did you start to defending and he's going to get one in, right? And you're going to cop one, and then from there you're going to go downhill. See, if someone punches at me, I throw my punch back at them. I'm sending a signal to them that I'm not actually defending. I'm actually attack on the attack. So if you have that sort of mindset, the way you train, then the outcome is different. But if you start keep defending yourself, he's going to get one in.
But you take away your gao choi out of then you have to learn how to strike. Your offense have to be your defense, right? And that's what boxing is. They see the opening, they even get into the right position, set you up to make you move left or right or come in, and they'll get you no matter what you do. This is just normal shit.
Look, I mean, just do a simple exercises, right? Tao Sao, Jin Choi, okay? Okay, so you have a spar with your mate, okay? And he's running around, he's punching you, and it's still a jab, but he can actually change to the hook. He can come back, he can do an uppercut, right? You'll do Jin Choi, you got to come back down here on the elbow to protect your ribs. That's how you've been taught, right? Now, just try this simple exercise, guys, out there. Wear some gloves, train with your mates in boxing, you Jin Choi, try to hit him. See how fast you are. Because by the time you move that, he's already seen your elbow, he's seen the shoulder move, right? And he's moving around, he's hitting you with different angles that you can't detect that fast. But he can detect you because he's seen you doing this all the time. You're going to move in there and you're going to like that. But he's going to move that way, he's going to punch this way. You've got to defend. As soon as you defend, you lost the whole structure because you're trying to defend. That's the whole point.
And the mechanics is wrong. Like, just say, for instance, your Dao could be now this way rather than down so low. Just bring it up.
Has to be on the V. Has to be on the V because that's how the way we've been taught, isn't it?
Yeah. Elbows in, protect the ribs. All you've done is just elevated it up so you can protect your neck. I mean, you guys also come up and start here. Like, there's a guard already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's a guard there.
Like, you got to start thinking as a fighter, and you'll see it in all the arts. It's just that it's drilled into most students. So you got to have the form looking like Sifu or better, and you'll get a nice certificate. And here's another belt. And now we go on to the next form, and oh yeah, I've got to make sure that dance routine's just as good. And then you go up the ladder, and next minute you're a Sifu. And a real Sifu to me is someone that can actually fight, not someone that can just teach how to dance. We're about to have a break, bro. This is an awesome chat.
Right.
So everyone will be back with the Tao of Kung Fu with Sifu John Lee in just a moment.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to the Tao of Kung Fu podcast, part 2 with Sifu John Lee. We're talking about the combat side of Kung Fu, or the lack of. Just to get back to some of the conversation, I remember Sifu Paul Withrod doing the Hall of Light set, and that's very agile footwork compared to like Sambo Jin, where it's gripping. So in a boxing sense, you've got light footwork, and then there's grounding where you do your body reps up close. I don't see any differences. Like, I love all Kung Fu, especially our arts. I believe that Southern Mantis is a vicious art as well. And I truly believe it's got the goods. And I know you mentioned, I don't know if you want to bring this up, but your dad actually, when he learned the Choi Li fight, he learned that ghost kick.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal thing that he told me. They used to, because in Zhongshan, they used to run up the mountain and saw this monk, and they would have tied the rope between the two trees. And the rope we're talking about is not the thin rope. It's this, they make up of the strands, and they're really thick, and a kind of like a
like a boat,
yeah,
like for the boats, those big thick ropes.
Yeah, but they're quite a thick rope intertwined the strands, and they used to have to kick this rope for so long to break it before they can actually go down and teach Kung Fu in the village. So that was the old day. And I remember one time he said to me, this ghost kick he actually used once when he had a restaurant in Zhongshan. That was just after the war, when everyone was very poor and the Japanese left the village. And basically, a lot of thugs come in and intimidate people, and came to this little restaurant and intimidated a lot of the customer. He had to go and teach him a lesson, and he smashed one of the guy with the guaigo, okay, with the ghost kick. And when this guy fall down, he had to go to a very famous doctor in Guangzhou trying to heal him. And the guy said to the doctor said to this guy, listen, he said, the guy that hit you, do you know who he is? He said, he's on the restaurant owner in Zhongshan, small time owner, in the restaurant. I said, I don't think so. Because the guy, if you hit him in a half-inch, he would have killed you. Would have had a heart attack, he would have killed you. He didn't do that. He was just trying to teach you a lesson. So that guy went back to my dad and he apologized. He thanked him for not taking his life away. But beside the point that when I was learning from guaigo from my dad, when I was young, I never really liked to do all that stuff because it was nothing fancy. It was very basic. You have to stand like that, and you heel up, and you got to hold that heel and that muscle at incline, So my head's there on an incline. And you hold it for many hours. Like the old days, the master used to use, the incense. They used to burn a couple of incense and you were standing on horse stand. But this is the bloody same thing. I'll do that. And when you're a kid, and I was brought in British Hong Kong, you're not going to go through that sort of stuff, But like I said, that's what he needed to do the guaigo, That was one of the part of the
to me, right, that's just target practice as well. To kick perfectly that rope, hundreds or thousands of times, especially up on your heel type of thing, that's going to build that explosive leg power from the toes. Remember, I always talk about toe power.
Yeah. Well, like my grandfather sending up that village up the mountain. He had to break that rope before he come back down to the village. So, that was the day that people were very tough in those old days. I don't think I could do it. To be honest. But like they had to do that to leave. It's like you got to hit the 36th chamber in Shaolin to get out, so you can be you can be a proper monk and like Gum Guai Cheng, the dragon, and the phoenix lift that thing like in Kung Fu, right? David Carradine. It was this were the different times, but it was interesting. The story he told me a lot of stuff, but I think. It also opened his eye when he became a police officer in the academy in Hong Kong. He met, but in Hong Kong those days, it's a mixing pot. You got all these people from different ethnic ethnicities. And they came and joined the police force. There was Indian, there was Dutch, there was American, there was English, there was Korean, and so. That was the old days. And at the academy, it opened up his eye how. Different culture, they fight differently. It wasn't just back in the village, they were doing the same thing, and like I'm sure, I'm very sure that, in Hakka region where everything looked the same, like they would do the fist, the fist, they would come back to the waist, they use strong movement. They would triangle stand. Then you got to do in Guangdong province and Zhongshan. They would do wide stand, Charlie, but wide. They chop choy, sao choy, China, they would do all this sort of technique. Then you go to another region, in Womei, and they would do it differently as well. So, but they are fighting against their own type of martial art. They weren't going to fight someone else. Now, I want to bring out another conversation I had. I spoke to, the Southern Prime Minister, the Iron Ox branch, right? So I done some research and I spoke to a guy that was a president. He's still a president of the Lion lineage of Iron Ox Prime Minister. And so he gave me a lot of information. We talked a lot on WeChat. And then I also know Sifu Eduardo Barbero. So he's actually one of my good friends. So, and he gave me a lot of information about Hogongwa. So in the old days, right, back into the new territory, there was only 10 years differences, okay? Hogongwa actually moved to UK in the 50s, and Layan came down and taught in the 60s in the new territory in Sungai, okay, in Hong Kong. But they never really actually met. So it tells you that even back in the 50s and 60s, you're too strict away in Mongol. You actually don't know there's a Zhuge Gao there, or there's a Zhou Ga prime minister, or Zhuge prime minister, or there's a Long Ying and there's a Bak Mei there. They probably just kept it to their own street. They don't actually travel a lot. The transport wasn't that good, so they wanted to travel out like that. So, so when I done the research, and I thought, man, these two are not prime ministers, same name, but they have different form. They have different way of standing and doing their stuff. And, you know, like, it just freaked me out, because you would have thought that, you know, Hong Kong's not such a big place. Why aren't they never met? And this guy just, okay, decides, okay, that's it. I'm going to do England. I'm going to go to London and start Hogongwa. I don't know, prime minister and Lions, you know, and taught a few people here, and there was a big group there in Hong Kong, as well as some of the old photograph. They were a small group, and they, you know, they carry on their lineage, but they got the same name, I'm a prime minister. And then you got the Mr. Sifu G in Shenzhen, right? He's teaching another Australian Southern prime minister, which is called Inox as well. So you got 3 lineages, you know, and that's just freaked me out, because, you know, if it's present days, we would, you know, we don't know each other straight away. Within about 1 or 2 days in social media, oh, this guy doing this, we're going to visit him, we now want to find out what's going on. So to me, it's that the Chinese martial arts always been kept within their own family and their own system. They're all like their own kind of fighting their own system. You know, all the techniques that we're doing, that we invented it, our ancients invented it, against the same people, but then we've solved something differently. I can give you a very, very good example. I have a student called Tiger, and he's a very well-known Xu Xiao guy in Xiamen now. He came to me when he was a young guy, and he had a lot. I had a lot of time for him, because he got a lot of the Chinese community in Sydney together, you know, the martial arts. And so anyway, he left me 6 years ago. He went to Xiamen. But before he left me, he gave me a book of the Xu Xiao. Xu Xiao is the master in China doing the Chinese wrestling. And I didn't know it was a Xu Xiao exponent. I thought that's what he just came and learn Kung Fu of me. But he wanted to learn Tong Long, and he wanted to incorporate the Tong Long in the Xu Xiao. So it became like a mixed Chinese mixed martial art, right? Perfect. And then he said to me,
"That would be perfect. You know, that would be perfect. That would be perfect."
Okay, so this guy, Tiger, like, I want to give him a place. He's a fantastic guy. He's probably about 30 something now, right? You already know he was like 20 something. He said to me,
sorry to cut you off. Is he also the dog boxer?
No, he took me to the dog boxing master in Maryland.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what happened is that I remember him, like, he used to come to my place, and I used to train him and stuff like that, pad work, jongs and all of that. And he said, far out, you know, Southern men is the bridge are so strong, you know, short power. You know, Sifu, you're fantastic. So no, I'm not good at all. I said, there's a lot of people better than me, but I'll just show you what I think it should be done this way. Okay. So he said to me one day, he said to me, Sifu John, you know, what other style you actually want to learn when you're a kid? Well, I said, you know, 1981, I was doing, you know, mentors of, you know, Sifu Peter Lee, my cousin. I flipped over a Chinese magazine, martial art magazine, and I seen dog boxing. and Sifu Peter just laughed at it. He said, oh, push it aside. That's bullshit, you know, dog boxing, come on, you know. Well, you're going to be a Labrador or something like that, or a golden retriever. I said, well, you know, I want to know a bit more about it. And I saw those photographs. So I told the Tiger that I actually want to see a dog boxer, you know, practitioner or some teacher. He said, guess what? I actually know one in Maryland. So he took me over there with a few other guys that done Taiji, Bakwa, and Xingyi. So I went there and looked at this guy, and it was Sifu Tom Zhang, or in Chinese it's Jiang Sifu or Jiang Shifu, okay, Jiang Shifu. And he was 10 years older than me. And when I met him, he was probably in his 60, and I was about 50. That was 10 years ago, maybe more. And he was showing me the dog boxing, you know. It was on the ground, and there was people learning, you know. I think I met a few people there that was my haka art actually learning from him, you know. And it was on the ground. It was a little takedown, and I had Dimitri. He does the BJJ as well, and he does Xingyi, and it was very good. Dimitri is very strong, and he was on the ground with him, and they were exchanging ideas and all that. But Jiangxi was fabulous. His dog boxing, but they told me he also evolved. He didn't just learn with Sifu and then say, "Oh, we're taught that way." He actually changed it, and he added a lot of stuff from BJJ. I think he must have started some BJJ. He added that it became like a different animal. So, I mean, he's doing that at 60, that's 10 years ago. He's 70 now.
He changed it from a poodle to a pit bull.
Maybe, but he was bloody deadly. And I remember he's standing on one foot, right? So he's standing on one foot, the other one's off the ground, and he had the lead foot that where he's standing, he had the heel up, and he stick his finger out like that. He said, "John," he said, "you grab my finger and you bend it, all right? And I'm not rooting. I'm only my heels off the floor, and I could see that. And he has his other leg like that, you know. I can't show you, but you can imagine, right? So I tried to bend his finger. I couldn't bloody bend his finger, and I thought, shit, this guy is really good, you know. That really impressed me. And then he took me out to the back there. Here it was, you know, log, you know, the treated pine log from Bunnings. It's playing on the bloody ground. There was no padding. It's not like those guys that does in the Wing Chun and put all this padding on Wundami. He was kicking the bloody pole, you know, and it was whacking it. And I thought, shit, this guy's for real, you know. And then he came back to me and asked me, they told me your mantis are very good. And I said, you know, it's okay. I kind of know that this guy's for real, you know. But he even told me that the credential he had, and I know obviously that I really, first time that I really appreciate someone that's walked the talk, because he has all those certificates and all those licenses on his wall. And I'm telling you that in the Sports Institute in Olympic Park, right? So I worked there on their floor, so I know this Sport Institute in Australia, right? In Olympic Park in Sydney. He has a certificate teaching Muay Thai, a certificate teaching Sanda, a certificate teaching like ground fighting, boxing, and then he's got this credential from China. Okay, which is the right? The natural way, you know. This, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
Zimmerman, natural boxing.
Yeah, I don't even know that thing. And then he's got dog boxing, and so I kind of got on the YouTube and I said, look, this is the group from UK that went to Fujian and learned dog boxing and brought it back to UK. You know, and this is the master. He said, that's why I see him. I said, really? He said, that's why I see him. He said, and then he really wanted to teach me the dog boxing because you know why? Look, I'm just going to be very honest with you. Look, my medicine is pretty good. Okay, it's not the best, but it's pretty good. Right? But when we're talking about fighting in the 70s, everything's predictable. When we fought Karate Guy, we know exactly what they're going to do. That's why Malcolm Su Kung Fu is so bloody good. You know, that's why he got so famous, and everyone learned from Malcolm Su because he worked on against you know Bob Jones Karates and all the other guys, right? But they were very telegraphic, but not this day. This day is not telegraphic. You have to, you know, we have to do differently against it. But when I was moving around with Sifu John and all that, I found one thing that, you know, when you start rooting and grabbing your bloody feet and all of that, and you're trying to get power, you're too late. He would have trapped you, and he would just go under and do 8-leg lock. I had to jump out of the way. And so after a few encounter, I thought, shit, I'm vulnerable. It's the first time in my life that I think my tongue became very vulnerable because my leg are too rooted. And I wasn't very fast moving. So I had to jump and try to get out of the way when he's doing that, because I know I have a chance. Once I jump out of the way, I can counter attack. And what gave me that instant of burst of energy to get out of the way is my trolley foot. Because trolley foot moves, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah.
It stands, move and bang like that. And my trolley foot kick into that few seconds and get out of the way.
Is the dog boxing called Gao Kun or
Gao Kun or Dai Shut Kun or Di Shu Chan?
Because
in Mandarin.
do you believe that John Lee created something like Dai Shut Kun and the Mantis, the Kunlun Gurt, is from could have been influenced by dog boxing?
Look, in Hong Kong, back in those days, it's a melting pot. You get people from, you know, like our ancestors came from Kaifeng, okay? So I'm in central China, Henan, right? And we're in Zhongshan, we became Zhongshanese and changed the name to Li, okay? You got people from Fujian, you know, or Hok Lo, you know, in Hong Kong they call it. So they bought their Wing Chun, not Wing Chun, Wing Chun, and Bak Hok Kun, you know, and then you got people from other regions in China came down from Shanghai, from Beijing, from Nanjing. They brought their own style of kung fu, the northern kung fu. You know, you got Chasing Tong Long, you got Bat Kun, you know, all these things. So of course, you know, even Bat Hok, right? We say White Crane, we say, and all I knew was, Bat Hok is actually Chan Ha Fu, you know, from the big movement, you know, and from Tibet. Then we think, oh, hang on, it's a different Bat Hok from Fujian, so it's the same name but different style, different way of moving. So you got a melting pot of everything in Hong Kong those days. Who knows? You know, I mean, I could study something and say, hey, you know, look, those guys like Yip Sui, Grandmaster Yip Sui, Grandmaster John Lee, I got to put Grandmaster on there. Lam Yao Guai. They basically pioneered of the style, what they were making up, without them we wouldn't know so much, knowledge of this movement and all that. But when looking at it, it's like they all intertwine each other. It's very similar. Zhuk Lam, you talk about Wang Yuk Gong, Wang Tam Gong, Zhong Sui, you talk about the forms that we have, and I learned Zhuk Lam from Hong Kong, and I learned Jiao Ga for many years, and the similarity, the movements, and then talk to Sifu Ed about, the Sambo Jin in Iron Ox, and then we're looking at Lai Yan's, the way that Hang Bak does his movement, it's very similar, maybe the structure a little bit different, but very similar. So it's a melting pot. So I'm not surprised to say that Dai Shut Kun, Kun Long Ge, had influence of the dog boxing. Maybe they met a dog master. I mean, it's like
John Lee Chung was known as the East River champion or something, right? Yeah. So he fought a lot of different teachers.
Yes.
So coming up against different teachers, you're going to end up on the ground. You could, if it's a Chinese wrestling, you get thrown. You want to know some big locks, right? So if the people don't know what the dog style boxing is of China, a lot of it is to get your opponent to the ground with leg locks, trips, and throws, and adding BJJ to it or judo would just enhance it. There's nothing wrong with that. They're the same things almost, except dog boxing has a form where the other one's no form, Yeah.
Well, like I said, they incorporate a lot of stuff in there. There's a mixture of stuff in that, and as far as I know, that even in Pununga, what I can see, there's a lot of elements in it, you know, that's in dog boxing as well. And the dog boxing really at the end of the day is that, you know, my vulnerability, I can tell you that. If you train all the time to hit top game, mid game, and you're going in there like that, and you're not worried about so much of bottom game, the only thing you got to do tongsat, or you know, and blocking legs and all that, and moving out of the way, and you gotta find a guy that as soon as you start striking him, he slips down and he's not fighting the top of a mid game. He's going in your bottom game, and he's slipping in very quickly, and he's changing all different directions, leg lock you. You're on the ground there. You can't do your gaucho, you don't do your pacer or paxo or poxer, but he's got you on leg lock. Am I going to answer this question? Yes, I'm vulnerable. And that's why when I looked at it, I thought, man, I need to learn this. You know, but I was getting too bloody old because in this a certain flexibility on the ground as well. Not everyone's good at this sort of thing, but have I known this in the 20s? Man, I would have jumped at it. At every opportunity, I would have jumped at learning that.
That being said, I reckon Pununga is a beautiful ground fighting form.
Beautiful form, beautiful.
Seeing it done by Sifu Paul Whitrod, man,
exactly.
He is so good, man, and
he's so bloody good. Like, you know, like,
and not only that, I think with his Indian grappling background as well,
yeah, Kalari, yeah,
will just enhance his knowledge. And people can hate on him for doing other arts, but it's just bettered him as a martial artist. Even in his Tong Long, I don't see a problem in it. You have to know what you're doing, and not every teacher has all the knowledge. A form might be taught, but like I said, I've taught Learn Chung, my Sifu Yokomun, leg locks from using Gui Ma when he was using it to slide back and take the leg out from a kid. So having a background in my previous arts has allowed me to advance my Yokomun, to teach it better with more intensity and in a combative way, right? Because not many people, a lot of people know the Dai Sat Kyun from Yokomun and Bap Mei, but not many know the applications.
Yeah, well, you know, like you proved to me also for longer when you watch the form how I do it, and you know exactly. There's so many elements in it, so many leg locks and joint locks and all that on the ground that most mentis guys probably don't know. They just do the form. They don't know how this apply. Maybe a couple of moves, but not all the stuff that you share with me. And I was just freaked out. And I thought, man, someone from your background actually, decoded all this stuff in the form, and the person who put that form together must be a genius, right? I just thought that, like, I think Sifu Paul is fantastic doing that form. He is not he's in his age now. He's not a very skinny person anymore, right? I mean, he's got to,
he's small and nuggety like me.
yeah. I mean, you would think that someone different will go very skinny and tall and all that stuff, or medium height, but it's not like that. But he's able to play that form very efficiently. Like,
that was one of the best demos I've ever seen. Like that.
And other people, the other group that trashing him is bullshit. Seriously, come on. There's so much in that form that if the knowledge, it wasn't just made up like that. If he did bloody made it up, he's a genius, right? So we're not. I'm not gonna look at something that, okay, this form look like that, and what is the purpose behind it? What we're training, it could be bloody genuine form. I don't bloody like it, But if someone makes something that up that I like it, I think, hey, I can add this to it, and there's an element of power generation. There's a notion to this, and there's a benefit to it. I'll just train it. I mean, it's all made up, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, and even if you just learnt Punlungo and Sambo Jin, you've got a perfect combination of standing and ground, like Yi Cup, Sam Cup, all those Sambo Jin. And then with the Punlungo, you've got yourself, even your Sapatsao. You say Sapatsao?
Yeah, Sapatsao, yeah.
Yeah, right. Just even that plus
Yeah.
That plus the Pundan perfect.
You're perfect. I mean, you got all those techniques, and then you drill that into the thing. Look, at the end of the day, I just think that I'm quite well. I don't know if it's fortunate. I don't actually need kung fu to make a living. I mean, I'm a professional. You know, building. In the building industry, I'm a polishing guy. I give a lot of the consultations, stuff like that. So to me, I'm making a living out of my trade. I'm doing really well. So I don't need kung fu to to do anything. But the thing is, like, if you talk about kung fu, right? So all this thing we're going back about the basic punches and all that, and then we're gonna do this pad work, we're gonna do sparring and all that, and then in traditional kung fu we say there's nothing to teach you anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because you turn up every week, I have to teach you something from a new form to keep you there as a student. So for me, to teach you how to do pad work and punching and kicking and all that and sparring and you sparring with your mate in the class, it's kind of saying, oh well, this the Chinese can they say 冇嘢教, there's nothing to teach you, So we have to kind of give them a little bit of this and to have them hook on and come back to learn the next technique for this form. Now, but when I think about it, you go to boxing classes, right? The boxing is only a few techniques there, but they're able to keep the student there for many years because they're training on different things. It's not the technique; it's training on timing, intensity, endurance, all of this. But the techniques are quite simple in a lot of way, but they're effective technique. So the notion is very different, between a traditional Chinese teacher teaching today. So I've got to teach this class something new tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a set syllabus. Yeah, I get it. There's a set syllabus.
Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah. The syllabus in Kung Fu needs a progression, and it's a cash cow as well in some way. If you got 18 or 36 forms, there's a lot of money in that for teachers if they've got a full-time Mulgun, right? So it's going to keep students around for 20, 30 years, not including weapons, lion, dragon dance, or unicorn, Tita medicine, Heigung, and all that. So it's different to Western boxing. When you've got Western boxing, a person will start with footwork and head movement, how to parry and strike pads. And then as they get better, you've got cardio, timing, floor to ceiling balls, speed balls, heavy bag, strength training, plyometrics, explosive training to develop you as a complete fighter. Without doing all the forms and weapons, if you strip back the basics of Kung Fu, of your art, if it's got 8 hands, 8 elbows, then you've already got a nice little package to work from, right? It's got to cover the basics of all angles, right? The batwa.
Batwa, yeah. So I understand all that, and that's why that it's probably hard for the traditional Gun to change the way that we want them to change. We're trying to share this view of changing it, because really think about it, right? You go there for 2 hours or 2.5 hours. We used to train 4 hours in Hurstville, and it felt like just like 30 minutes. Boom, it's gone so quickly. But back in the days in Hurstville, we train a lot of paddle, we train a lot of Johnson, we train a lot of conditioning, we train a lot. We didn't spar, but we've done a lot of this stuff. And our sparring actually going into shanty bars and the rest day and fight the real guys. That was in there. The troublemakers. We should take us in on a Thursday or Friday night. We should go in there and start a fight with somebody in the pub. But I can see why. Like you got weapons, you got qigong, you got medicine, you got all that. It's taking part of the time. So I think there's a place for everything in Chinese Kung Fu. But I think we have to start to place more emphasis on the combat side of things, you know, and rather than just going through forms, do all that, and tell people how great we are.
Absolutely. I think we should. Well, I always had either sparring at the end of the traditional class, but I just say I had Monday, Wednesday, Friday teaching Yao Gumun, and then Tuesday, Thursdays would be just combat training using Yao.
Yeah.
So like a freestyle Yao Gumun, pad work, and just fitness and sparring without form. So you come in there, you got your Tao, your mouth guard, groin guard, your gloves. It'd be just like a kickboxing type of setup, right?
Yeah.
Setup. But that's how you see we had just as many people coming to the fighting class compared to the traditional class. So I reckon there's a yin and yang balance for it.
Yeah.
If you're stuck with, I need to make sure I got to teach the tradition and tradition only, then the students are not going to benefit, especially in reality, I believe, if they're not already got the mindset of a fighter. Some people come from a fighting background. So like me, I was able to use that with Yao Gumun or any art. But if someone never fought before, never chucked on gloves, and they're doing all the jongs and weapons, and you see it, they look good. As soon as they get hit, the fear and the lack of technique go, everything goes out the window. So I think it's so important for today. Our Kung Fu needs to prevail, and this is why Xu Xiao is having a go at all these masters, because I think he loves Kung Fu, he loves China, but he's so over the bullshit of everything's sung and all the deadly palms and all these masters that can't prove it. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, I can understand that the original message from him is it kind of bit distorted in some way as well. But I think it's you know, I mean, like even Jay said, nowadays it's very diplomatic. You know, you come and fight, and I'll give you the rules. You know, you're allowed to do whatever you like. I'm not going to get angry. You're not going to do what that we agree on. But you know, if we agree on do something, we're going to have to stick to it. I mean, that's all. Like, let's get back into the Dida medicine. I got three very good friend of mine now, became a very good friend of mine, and I want to give them a plug as well. And they all came from different different education in as far as healing and all that. But I found these three guys that I know from my life. They're very good treating a lot of my students back in the 2000. And I'm talking about Dr. Simon Chan in Hurstville. He treated a lot of the celebrity soccer team in Hong Kong. People like Alan Tam Tam England, Alec, all this stuff. So when I asked him about that, he said, my father taught me the traditional Chinese medicine, all the formula, but he also studied in the university in Guangzhou, got his master's degree in anatomy. So when he treat you, it's not just using Chinese medicine and feel your bone and bone setting. He's send you down there and get X-ray. So you see exactly what's going on using modern technology, using machines, different machines, and stimulate the pawns and all that. But he's also using massages and manipulation. But he also got the Chinese poultice, right? They did our medicine to heal you very quickly. So by having both sides of the knowledge, he's become a very fantastic doctor. The other one that I noticed is a young guy, and his name is Anthony. He's in Campsie. I mean, he's a chiropractor, but it's the manipulation, all of this stuff, knowing the bone and the muscle, and everything. It's fantastic. And he came from a Western side of medicine, got a degree in university, practiced a lot, but he's also got the Chinese Dida medicine with him. And the other one, you know, that uncle, my uncle, Dr. Mickey, right? I mean, he does acupuncture. He does, and he's got his Chinese medicine from his Singapore teacher, which is the Xu Xiao. So all of these people that I met, they actually have something very, very special. They're able to combine East and West together and got a better result and outcome. So why can't we do that with Chinese martial art? Why can't we do that? I mean, if we do that, maybe we've got a better result and outcome. Then, at the moment, we're not doing too bloody well. I just want, I mean, for once, just, I think Adrian Pang, we talk about Adrian Pang, and, he learned Mantis and all that, and, we all seen that interview, and now he's just such a successful guy with MMA and all gyms and all that. And
he's a legend. I was working down at the Rocks.
Yeah.
I was working down at the Rocks on the door, and I did meet him.
Yeah.
I believe it was him. He wouldn't remember me, but I knew of him back then as a fighter as well, and he did really well for Australia, especially in fighting. So, man, respect to him.
Yeah, true. The guy that actually walked and talk, and he lost. Yeah, the first time he lost, and that's the way he taught. Been taught the Mantis, and he went there and lost the match. And he lost the match. His Sifu left in the car park, and he was looking for his key. And that interview was on the internet. But he's able to move on and make something good about his knowledge. Maybe he carry a bit of this Mantis with him as well. That what he learned from previously and added to his MMA. That gave him the edge to win, all these fights. So anything's possible. I just think the young guys are watching this video, this podcast, that just don't lock yourself in the room. Get out of the room.
All right, Sifu John, thank you so much. We're about to
finish
this, but this has been an awesome interview, and thank you again. We'll have another one in another week or so. I'm pretty sure there's going to be something else we'll be talking about. But Tao bless, and we'll chat again soon, brother.
Okay. God bless.
Thank
God
you.
bless. Okay.